Hi YouTube, I hope you're doing good. Happy weekend. Um, it's pretty happy that feral kitty that had the broken leg, she ran out the other day and I brought her back in because she wants me to catch her and pick her up and carry her. And I'm allergic to cats, so I usually pet her at the end of the day before I wash up. Well, this morning she got out and then it started raining and she wanted me to chase her into the woods, and it's like you just, like I told Doug, she's like me, she's a free spirit, just whatever. I mean, I don't want to see her get killed or anything, but she's gonna do what she's gonna do, and I'm not gonna chase her in the rain. Although the rainwater is good for my hair, I've been washing it with rainwater, and it's not coming through any old pipes or anything like that. And I boil it, so then it's about as clean as you're going to get it. I mean, as far as it being rainwater. So, and Doug's going to be pulling them pipes out of the ground pretty soon, so I thought I'd get this done before all that noise was going on, because it'll be a chain and the winch and lots of noise. So hopefully that'll be happening pretty soon. But yeah, he was a nice guy yesterday. Brought home a pizza for supper, so I had a few pieces of that, and um, half pepperoni, half sausage. I'm a pepperoni kind of. I used to love sausage. I think I just got sick of it. Um, I even used to love like a shrimp and mushroom, or shrimp, mushroom, and onion pizza. Them three flavors together are really good. But I haven't had one of them for a while. Or mushroom and sausage. That used to be one of my favorites, but Tombstone used to make it, that brand, but they don't anymore. They make sausage. You can put mushrooms on there, but you'd have to cook them a little bit first because the moisture in them would wreck your pizza. So, anyway. I was listening to Sam Vaknin, Professor Vaknin, about narcissists and crying, and are they crocodile tears? That's more psychopath, but a psychopath can be very narcissistic also, so not to confuse the two. But I've seen people cry in a rage and then get violent, so it might start like self-pity and go into anger and then go into destruction, that type of scenario like that. So, yeah, narcissists cry out of self-pity. I think a lot of us do, even if we're not considered a narcissist. We can get into the poor me's and feel like crying, and that's not an unhealthy thing for anybody. I mean, if you have to feel like you just are overwhelmed, and I believe God hears our tears even before we cry. He knows what we need. Um, so, yeah. See, like today, I needed more rainwater, and it rained this morning just enough to freshen up that rainwater in the barrels out there. So, otherwise, we'd be getting low and have to really hurry and try and it's been raining just enough. I mean, Doug's been getting drinking water, but it's been raining just enough to get like a wash up and flushing the toilet and, that type of thing. So, hey, God does look out for us. I can't prove that's the way it is, but it's a little ironic, isn't it? you know, that, gee, it's getting empty and there wasn't supposed to be any rain today. But last night they said some was moving in, or they said like chance of rain. Well, it was more than a chance. Rain this morning said it was going to clear off, which it is right now. It is 11:11. Go figure, hey? I'm talking about God and I get 11:11 as I'm talking about. I don't think that's a coincidence. That brings me on to another topic before I get back to them crybaby tears. But I had a person that I'm friends with on Facebook. He shared about Abraham and Isaac, how Abraham took his son Isaac up to the mountain and was going to sacrifice him for God. And this person had written, "This isn't the God I believe in." Well, that's not the God I believe in either. And I have faith in God. Those kinds of memes will take people's faith away and their lack of understanding of what's going on in that scripture, in that verse. I don't like it either. I've never liked it. And if God told me to kill my child, I would tell him to boff himself. Quite frankly, I would not take my child up on that mountain. And I would say, you'd have to kill me too, then, if that's the way you truly are. These are stories that have been passed on through the ages for families to teach their children to love God more than you love any human being. It's not an actuality. It's these myths and family stories along with their lineage and their bloodline and where they migrated to, those types of stories to teach people things. But people take everything so material, nothing spiritual. They have to take everything as the material thing and give it just for that. That's not the God I believe in either, you know. And people will take these scriptures and use them to justify their sins. They're just like, oh, so he asked us to kill his son, and then he tells us to battle in war with these people. That is not what it's supposed to mean. Those are not the appropriate um, interpretations for these stories that are being told. Logic dictates that this is twisted, you know. So I don't believe in that God either, is my point. So anyway, cheers, everybody. But yeah, back to them crybaby narcissists. Yeah, they cry. They have self pity. We all do. I think their self pity goes a little deeper because they weren't able to overcome their trauma and abuse when they were young people and got in the habit of putting their pain upon other people because they felt powerless, and that gives them a sense of power and superiority, and that is truly how they feel. You know, I've had enough people in my life and know enough about the human mind and heart that this isn't just an observation, these are facts. These people do cry, but it doesn't matter if your pains are more, their pains are always more, even if they're actually not, you know? So, yep, that's true. I don't pay a lot of heed to people that could be cruel to other people and they cry. When they cry, it's just like, huh, no, that's okay. I mean, you're not a little baby. If you were a child and you were crying, I mean, kids can be very narcissistic, but if they cry, you probably get my attention. If you're an adult that have been cruel to other people, I don't care. In fact, let me pour a bucket of water on your head so you feel like you have more tears. Maybe that'll clean up your act and you'll stop doing that to other people because we all have our tears on this planet. Just how are you going to handle them? You know, it is the ones that don't handle them and want to put that on you, like you were responsible for their upbringing. Hey, get a grip. You're an adult now, you know? Don't put that on other people. Grow up, you know? Yes, okay, so you have a barrier. Let me help tear down that wall. You know, if love's not going to do it, maybe a little brutality will, you know? Maybe that's what God was saying. This little Isaac is a piece. Take him up on the mountain and slice his throat, you know? No. I don't actually mean that, but I thought I'd throw it in there as an example, you know. So do you think God really meant it? This is a story to show people it's not an actuality, but people have to take everything as actual fact and take it out of context, take it out of the spiritual world and make it more a physical thing to suit their own misdeeds. And that's exactly what they're doing with that. So enjoy yourself, little babies. If you can't get a grip on what's real, that God made you because He loves you, and you want to play games with anybody's stories from their beliefs that what? Like they're not a good person because they would tell their offsprings the story about Abraham and Isaac. You're the one who's twisted, not the scriptures. You're not getting out of it what you're meant to get out of it. So evidently it's going to take you a little bit longer to get a grip on what is physical and what is spiritual, you know? It's not a coincidence either. There's just some people that are more worldly and they don't see the spiritualness of everything on the softer side of the fence because they don't belong on that side, or if they do, it's going to take them a very long time, you know. Geez, I might have to stop watching one of my favorite channels that just like some songs, if it's like repetitive and things like that are not actually coincidences. It's just like, okay, I'll give you an example. I prefer people that reach me with their hearts. They're talking to me, they have something to say, they're sharing um life experiences if they have any, and the psyche of the mind and the heart to help people. But um I don't know, just personally, coincidences aren't actually a thing like that. I'll give you a very big example. I gave you one yesterday about my adoptive mother and my birth mother being so much alike. Well, it goes deeper than that. My adopted mom's name is Jacqueline Joan. They call my sister JJ. Her name's Joan Jacqueline. That's probably not a coincidence. I'd say yes, God works in mysterious ways, but okay. And there's more. It's not a coincidence. These things are not coincidences. These are things like the deja vu in our lives or the things that we're going through. These are things that either God or Satan put before us in our lives as teaching tools and memories that are actual things, and everybody has them if you recognize them. If you don't recognize them, I mean, you could see similarities in a like a video taking a camera and going out and then looking at somebody else's videos, and it could be in step. I mean, these things, everybody has these things. They're actual gifts. They're actually things that one force or another or both put before us on a daily basis. God orchestrated everything ahead of time. Satan tried to put his technology and demeaning ways in there also. Um, it's just, are you aware of it? I mean, I'm fully aware. Jacqueline Joan and Joan Jacqueline, I mean, that's just, no, that is not a coincidence. There's something there that God was trying to tell me. Look, you just can't get away from it. Um, this is all your family, you know, that type of feeling. That's what I got out of it. And it goes even deeper with a lot of other of my relatives and things that I've been through. And oh, I'm just saying I probably can't watch a lot of repetitive stuff. Yes, it's cool how things fit together. I'm fully aware of that. Okay, here's another for instance. I would be going through something in my life, and then somebody would put out a song just what I'm going through. And I may not know another person on the planet that's going through that identical thing, but there it was, and it just perfect timing, God's perfect timing. Of course that's what it is. It's not, it seems like it could be coincidental, but it's not. I'm just saying I probably can't watch if there's not a any more message than matching up a screen with music. I mean, I do know these things happen, but I just can't watch the repetitiveness of it. I'd rather have somebody talking about their life and reaching people like that because we all have these coincidences. I'm just saying, yes, you could be a very special person, and those coincidences were put there for you. Everybody does. That's the point. That's why I believe that's probably not the way. I mean, I'm not reaching people with the way that I thought I would on a bigger scale, but I do believe that the people that need to hear what I'm talking about and are like minded and our hearts are similar in a lot of ways like that, you're the people I'm meant to be talking to. And so maybe that's the same with this other person too, and it could be. But unless the video says something on it that if I start watching it, it's like last night, it's like the same. I just can't do this again. I want to watch something fresh, you know. I want to hear something new, you know. Like me bringing you that traits that we get from our family members or something. That was fresh. It's some, you know, hey, look what I found type of thing, you know. And I don't believe in coincidences. I do believe things are orchestrated by one force or the other or both. And so, you know, it's like when you go and you're like on your way to work or different things, different people. It's all orchestrated like that. And I know a lot of people think, well, yes, we have free will within those perimeters, but there's still two ways to go in any given scenario. You know, I'll give you a flat out example of how this is true. Oh, maybe that's not a good example. I was going to say, no, I'll just say what I was going to say, but it's not the best example for this. But God could put a person before us in our life that's highly irritating, and Satan's going to say, just smack that dumb or whatever. But you know in your heart, and you have free will, but you know in your heart that you probably shouldn't do that. But you still had this, let's call it an opportunity to do things the right way or the wrong way in life. You know, it's the orchestration of the whole thing. And it could be Like, you think like your day can't get any worse, but there it did. Then, and that's Satan's way of saying, excuse me, I always get a itchy back when I'm, oh, sorry. Um, but do you see what I mean? It's all orchestrated, so it's not. It seems miraculous, but so does our existence. You know, so it's not surprising to me, is what I'm saying. It's just like how there's shapes in different cities, like you can see, and on the earth, how you'll see like faces or sculpted things, God's creation. It's not a mistake. It's all His artwork and His orchestration. Then you can see the places that the not so healthy minded people will rip the hell out of the earth and God's artwork. And there are reasons why certain places are destroyed. It's just like right now there's a gold rush up in Alaska, and it's kind of on the down low. They're keeping it quiet. The people that are ripping the land apart, it's like I watched them do that out in Montana for the coal, and walked around with a environmentalist, and he was engineer, and he was showing how he would reconstruct a hill and put the native vegetation back on it and that type of thing. And we're walking down this hill that they had made, and I told him, because I was concerned about it, and I told him, I said, it's still not how God made it. And yeah, people have to have fuel to live, but how far is too far if you totally destroy the land? You know, and if you're going into the mountains and you're mining, or you're part of the wood industry, those types of things, if it's not replenished, the wood industry you can replenish. You can't replenish gold, not readily, not within 100 or 1,000 years. It takes millions of years to form a lot of raw materials like metals and that type of thing. And oil's replenishable. Everybody out in the oil field, I lived out there. My ex worked there. My son worked there. Everybody out there knows that it's not made from dinosaurs. It's made from vegetation that is decayed. It's the same science if you take, and I don't care who says what, it's the same science if you take any biomaterial and reduce that down to its base essence and filter it like they do in the refineries, and then that is fuel. And you can make your own biofuel, and that's how it's done with any biomaterial. You could even take bodies and make biofuel out of it, as gross as that sounds, but it's true. So what it is actually is peat moss and earth and vegetation, and like the Williston Basin goes from all the way from like Minnesota way out west, way down south, way up into Canada, and everybody knows that there's like a huge ocean of oil under the United States, and down around Texas and other places like Kansas, and I could go on and on. I know a lot about it. Then we're not even talking about the offshore drilling. This is a replenishable resource that you've been lied about. You've been lied to about it. And this isn't just me dreaming. This is me actually working out in and around that industry and getting to know people that owned oil wells and worked seismography and and refining and all of it. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to that being a replenishable fuel. And, so yeah, when you're paying your high prices for your gas and they won't let the oil rigs, they've got so many of them capped off, what they call capped off. They take paraffin and they pour it down in there and it hardens. They cap it off. And then if they want it to start again, they put hot water in there, melts the wax, and they can start the horse's head back up and start pumping again with one of their rigs. If they're just drilling it, you're going to see the rig and you're going to see them drilling. If it's already been drilled and there's just a horse's head standing there and it's not pumping, it could be that it's one that's capped off, but there's still oil there. So, true story. So, people that have, oh, like big oil, like the Bushes or whoever that were used to be a part of Texaco and then it turned into other ones. But they even own land like there's a freshwater lake like ocean in between the United States and the Panama Canal. And there's land on the other side in South America. Guess who owns some of that land? The Bushes. Isn't that interesting? Now we're talking about water resources. That's a little bit different. Yes, it's replenishable in in a certain manner, but there's the Army Corps of Engineers for over a couple hundred years have been damming things up and destroying it worse than a lot of things. I heard somebody say, wouldn't it be interesting to take, like, of course, you would have to have trees, you would have to be able to nurture trees, which is possible in the desert, and then drill for water and have a holding pond, and you could have, like, put beavers in there, and they would dam things up if you can make a natural stream from drilling in the ground, doesn't matter how deep, and you could make a fertile valley out of a desert valley with that technique just by taking care of trees. It's like here, if you had seen this land that we own now before we started planning anything on it, you would not recognize this place 30 years later, 30 plus, you know. It's true. But it took a lot of hard work, you know. A lot of people aren't going to go and buy a barren, farmed out piece of land and make something out of it, you know. So it's just not like, oh, we just bought a chunk of land and it was beautiful. No, it was horrible. There used to be a farmer that would try and drive right up our back hill up to a field above us, and he was poisoning the creek that was going into the lake. And we put an end to that. We're like, no. And he says, well, I don't have any access to my field. And we're like, well, that's a good thing, isn't it? And no, you are not driving on our land to get to your field. So that's the end of that one. And he was poisoning everybody downstream, and we put an end to that. So, yeah, sometimes you just have to say no, you know. He knew what he was doing, he just didn't care, you know. It's in the back there now where there didn't used to be any trees. It's beautiful now. Probably This coming week sometime I'm going to take my camera out and go walking around and show you. I've done that before around here, but I'll show you a little bit more. I've got like pictures of the creek and different things. I think I do have one from up on the hill. I think it was when my arm was still sort of broke. I was having trouble getting down the hill because one side's almost like a cliff and it comes out of the mouth of an old volcano. So that's a really dangerous one to try and go down. I was coming down it kind of sideways, and then I scared up a grouse or a prairie hen, prairie chicken. Um, and I felt bad because I think she was sitting on eggs on her nest. But yeah, that happens when you're out. You don't know what you're going to be spooking up or followed by. You never know. There's mountain lions and bear and wolf and coyotes, all kinds of wild dogs and stuff out there. And I heard caribou were starting to come down in Minnesota. There used to be great herds of them, but they had, along with the buffalo, been chased out of the plains, the Great Plains area in the United States. So, yeah, but they're coming back, which is pretty cool. They're in the deer family, like the elk or the moose, but they're just very large. Almost as big as a horse, but not quite, a regular size horse. So, yes. Okay, I was going to get back to them crybaby narcissists. After a while, when they don't care about your tears, when they cry, for me, and it seems cold, but I'm just like, I just blink when they cry, like, yeah, I know you feel bad for yourself. I used to feel bad for you too. But the older I get now, I'm taking time to feel bad for myself. I had a mother that would cry, and I had to console this dumb thing, ignorant of what it takes to take care of a child. You don't bend to your sorrows in front of your child every given whim. You're strong for your child. You don't sit there like, yeah, when I had to kick my ex out, I cried, but not in front of my kids. you know I had to stay strong for them. Yeah, they knew something was wrong with mom, but I'm not going to sit there and just cry and become a basket case, which, if you don't know, a basket case is considered if you have somebody that's built a car or a motorcycle, or they disassembled it and then the parts are in boxes and that type of thing, and you can purchase it for cheaper and build your own vehicle out of what they considered a basket case. That's where that saying comes from. So, in other words, they are in pieces and they need to be put together. That's what a basket case is. So, but you have to have somebody that's smart enough to put it together first. You know, babying these creatures is not going to get you anywhere. And I know I have narcissists that listen to me, and that's true too. It's a fact. So for me, just to blink when they're crybabying, well, that's a natural reaction to the trauma that they've caused me. And considering that I won't cry and bring down another person for that reason, for that pity. I have to think about myself. You figure, okay, if you give and give like 60 years of your life to people, and if you die at 80, you would think that maybe a third of your life might be just for you, you know, where you can say, I feel sorry for you up to a point, but that's where that point ends and Barb comes in. Hello. Nice to meet myself one time where I'm not having to care for somebody that's weaker of mind and spirit than I am, you know? So, because if you cry around a narcissist, oh, they're going to take advantage of that. Oh, yeah, they're going to give you some added pain on top of that. That's their best thing. They can see you weak. Shit. They're going to add to it. It just gives them fuel. These are people that enjoy other people's pain, you know. And a lot of us, we can't get that through to people enough. They enjoy seeing you suffer. Stop being stupid. They love that shit. I know people that were concerned about getting out here and talking about the people that were treating them bad because we've all been conditioned to turn the other cheek and God is our vengeance and all this. Yeah, you don't have to be mean to anybody, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with self therapy and telling people that care about you the crap that you've been through with these creatures because you need somebody to talk to. You have every right to expose them. As a matter of fact, I recommend it. Expose your local narcissist. You have some that'll expose themselves and they'll tell the truth about themselves. Now, I admire that. If you're totally a cold hearted, I won't call you a thing because if you're telling the truth, you're not a thing. You've got some humanity that a lot of narcissists don't have. You might have had to gather that the hard way. I respect you for that. I sure do. I still don't trust you with all my heart, but I respect the fact that you can be honest about those things, you know, because most narcissists won't be, you know. That's a fact. But yeah, they love causing people pain. Say, okay, here, I'll give you a scenario. Say you went out with a man or a woman and you spent time or money or both, and you really thought you were getting close to this person and you poured out your heart and soul with them. You thought you were making a connection. If you cried in front of them, I'm going to give you a scenario, not that this has happened to me, but I'll just give you a scenario. Say you're sitting in a restaurant and you had took this woman to a nice place and you thought you were getting closer. You actually thought that there could be some kind of a future and a connection there. And you almost cried when you were telling her a story about something horrible that had happened to you. And she looks at you. She takes out her phone and starts checking her Facebook. And then looks at you almost crying and, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's really too bad. Oh, really? Oh, just a minute. Hey girl, how you doing? You know, that's the reaction, the type of, would that cause you extra pain on what you already had? You damn right it would. Oh yeah, it would. That's how they operate. That's what it's all about. Making you want something they don't have to give is what it's all about. They'll give you a little bit just for show and tell, like, I can be so sweet, but it's all act. because you can't act sweet and then become cold. Humans don't operate like that unless they have a barrier, you know. I'm not waiting around for these people's barriers to clear. Not anymore. If you can't get with the program, you're going to be left behind. It's as simple as that, you know. That's my outlook. Now, if you can be honest about some crappy stuff that you've done in your life, and I see actual improvement and see somebody actually struggling to understand, even if you're just acting nice and you don't want to act bad, I can accept that as a plausible start on what it means to be a human being, you know? But if I don't see any advancement and concern for other people in that respect, you don't want to pretend to be a friend of mine because that will not work out well for you. You know, I'm serious. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I do know people that have hurt me. Things don't turn out for them like, okay, I'll give you a scenario. Some man used to look at me the wrong way when I was a little kid. He lost his eyesight. Some woman lied about my son and was a total scumbag. She lost the ability to talk. Um, is this a coincidence? I could go on. It's not a coincidence. Just be careful how you treat people. You don't know how much they're loved. you know, the world may not love them, but God does. So I'm not backing down on this. If people don't want to rise to the occasion on the shift that's actually happening with the tender-hearted people expressing their sorrows in their life and finding the ones who actually care about you for your sorrows and would never give you those sorrows, not intentionally, keep talking because we're the ones who care. We really do. And it's not a coincidence that we were born into certain families to try and destroy our souls. You know, that's that life in a petri dish. That's the opportunity the dark force had, like a mad scientist sitting there with the tweezers and taking you out of Camp Good and putting you in with Camp Bad to see how you're going to come out, either scathed or unscathed, you know? It's like Job. So God said, do your best. Job never faltered. His faith in God never went away, you know? Mine lacks sometimes as far as I do get into the poor me's, and I have a hard time trusting God's timing because as a human being, our time seems so long. When you're a kid, just think about how long your days seem to last forever, like they were endless, like you were in hell, because you were, and we are. But as you get older, your days are shortened, you know. Is that just imagined thing? No. The older you get, the quicker your days go. All of a sudden, it's the weekend again, and I mean it's almost doubled from when I was a young working mother to like now. My days have quickened almost double as far as what they feel like. So yeah, they say life is short. Well, do we ever actually really die? or we transcend what is life, you know? So, yeah. It's not actually too, and with the force of evil, like if Satan wants to put something in your way any given day, it's all orchestrated ahead of time. It's just like there's minds out there that do nothing but they're transmitters. It's like they transmit the dark force. Like, okay, we'll just say like Masons or whoever in every single city and town all over the world. These are minds that are open to those suggestions from the dark force that actually implement things and put their mind out like feelers, that they conduct things for the satanic force. It's like a sub. It's like harmony. Like you have the basic melody, then you'll have like the backup singers, and then you'll have like the musical rhythm, or different layers on that. Well, God works like that too, but so does Satan. It's all orchestrated. It seems like a miracle, but it isn't. It's actually a real thing, you know? It's not a coincidence. Um Say that, just here's another silly scenario, but say you might have had this happen. You ever go in like a building and you think somebody's holding a door for you or something, but they actually were just there for Satan, and they ended up just waiting till you're almost there and it slams on your arm or your hand, or, you know, well, we know God didn't do that to you, but somebody else actually really did. You know, that seems a little far-fetched, but it's true. Have you ever gotten in a car accident and knew exactly what was going to happen before it happened? You know? So these people know these things. They see them in the ether. They see them in their mind's eye, just like you or I. They do. And people forget that. It's not a miracle. It's actually the way this plane of existence works. You know? Yeah, it's a teaching tool. Me personally, I'm getting a little sick of this being test. But anyway, I don't like tests. So yeah, I'm a little bummed. I don't want to actually quit watching somebody, and I hate to turn somebody off when I actually enjoy their personality, but their content is too repetitive because they're showing something that is such a coincidence in their life, or not a coincidence. They're showing that it isn't a coincidence, but we all should know this type of thing. Like I said, there was videos made when I was younger that were made intentionally to correlate with my life or somebody else's, and you're probably fully aware of that, you know? Or maybe not. Maybe not. But see, that's what, for me, because we all go through this, so it doesn't seem that special. It is, but it isn't in a certain sense. But it's just a repetition for me that I can live without. It's like, I don't know what other type of message there would be to get out of all that. Or even showing, like, yeah, if you're going to show, like, the different signs and symbols within the landscape of buildings and in cities, and the sigil magic that's meant to go along with that, the force of evil that is meant to bring people down in that Masonic system, if you're not aware of that, you know, it's kind of like changing the Trinity from Father, Son, and Divine Spirit to the Father and two females, and one female is actually disguised because it's actually a man, that type of thing. That's what's going on in this planet. It's the absolute opposite than what it's supposed to be. And that's what we're battling against. If I'm going to love somebody's soul, I'm going to have to see that they actually have one. And I'm serious about that. I shouldn't even laugh. That's not funny. They're going to ask soulless. Well, that's between them and God, I guess. But I don't want to have to participate in somebody else overlooking bad behavior out of anybody and expecting somebody with any kind of ill repute actions to what they do in between now and when they die, fine. But I don't want to participate or hear about it. I've had enough of that. I'm more in the warrior mode, like if you're gonna act like shit around me or anybody that I know and love, or if somebody loves me, then I might have a say so in it. Otherwise I have no say so. And I don't care, and I don't want to hear about it. If you're going to overlook it, I don't want to hear your problems. Next time you want to cry, here's a quarter. Call someone who cares. Oh, that's right. There's no pay phones. Oh, ask God for help, because some people don't appreciate good friendship and wouldn't stand up for you or I in front of somebody that's abusive. They'd rather take their abuse and enjoy it for the rest of their lives or for eternity. So don't waste your time. That's a good lesson for me, you know. I want to be surrounded with and pay attention to the people that um, have that understanding. We have that understanding with each other, that if we saw poor behavior towards a friend of ours, we'd be like, okay, do you still like this person? And be like, I love them, but I don't like them. Okay, well, I feel the same way, and we're on that same level. Those are the people that I want to gather around me, you know. So, but you ever see somebody and you just, the look on their face, and you know that to them, they are the whole world, and nobody else is included in that. Well, when I encountered that type of spirit in a person, I'm not going to overlook it. That's a dangerous individual. So if you can overlook it and that's what you want forever, I wish you the best of luck. Really. In all sincerity, I wish them to find God in their hearts so they won't be torturous, but I don't want to be around it, you know. I can't even have my own kids around me. No, I've had too much of all that. No, no way. Get the out of here with your low vibe and shit. They act like they're so up on top of the world, like they have every reason to be king or queen bee and look down on other people as they're doing it because they feel so miserable about themselves, but they would never admit that misery unless it were in the form of self-pity. But to actually pity somebody else or worry about how they inflict something on somebody else, they don't care, you know? If they don't care, if they didn't care, they didn't care. It's pretty simple. And if they ever do, it's going to be so apparent you're not going to have to guess if they're acting like they actually care or not. Even if they pretend, you're going to know they're pretending. I'm convinced people really do not change. You are born who you are. And you either belong to God or you belong to Lucifer, one of the two. I'll give you a scenario. Say if I was twins with somebody, and say if there was 2 men twins and 2 women twins, and we were all on a starship, and the 2 men twins wanted to fornicate with both the female twins, and one of the female twins was okay with that, and there was no other people in existence whatsoever. Do you know what my spirit would do? I would jump out of that fucking craft in a heartbeat and say, you can share what is lower vibing than I am, because I am not going to participate in your God games. And that's where I'm at with all that. There's the scenario of the facts. I would take my spirit and create my own world that doesn't include misplaced sexuality and effed up fornicating ways and disembodied, self-made entities that can laugh at another person's pain. And that's what we're dealing with, people that could actually look at your struggles and laugh in your face about it. That's not very cool. Would you rather be alone? Most of us would, you know. But that's exactly my personality. So I don't play games with people's feelings. I don't hide. I don't, I'm not going to baby Doug's feelings. For, like, if you're a man out here and you appreciate my heart, my soul, I'm not going to baby his feelings and hurt you because of how he feels. That would be, then I would be taking how he feels. Or if I was a shitty person, I would laugh at your pain. I would pretend I was your friend and then laugh at your pain in true narcissist style and not give it another thought. So I have to really examine who I thought my friends were. You know, I think a lot of us are going through some of those similar things, you know. Like, who you really working for? That you would think that something I'm going through and I've worked so hard for other people, and you think what I'm going through is funny? Whatever. They say they who laugh last, laugh best. Well, I'm waiting for my laughter, and from what I understand, I'll be laughing pretty hard at the people that are laughing at me now. So go ahead, chuckle up, chuck it up, enjoy yourself. Because some people really do not deserve good friendships. They have to seek their own level like water, you know. So here's to the ones that are on my level that would never laugh at my pain. Here's to you all. I love you. Thank you for being here, you know. And that's a real thing. I would not only not laugh at your pain, I would probably go out of my way and make it very apparent to the person that was causing you that pain that they might have problems if they did something like that in front of me. That's how far I'd go to defend you as the good person that you are. Whoever is listening to me, I assume that you are. So that we would never do those types of things to each other. So I do have to be careful who I'm watching. What kind of vibe do I get out of it? How do they close out their videos? Is it self-serving for them? Or are they actually caring about other people and taking care of your hearts and that type of thing? You know, that they're not rude like that and arrogant like that. So, and you've all seen me be arrogant. I hope on that level that you have that enough self-respect that you're going to carry that as a king or a queen in your life for yourselves, and I will not put you down for that. You deserve that as a good person. It's time the good people on this planet have the peace of mind that we deserve without the wicked-hearted, wicked-minded, and filthy people around us. And if you see beauty in dirty and deceiving and wicked, what doesn't constitute a family or a motherly attitude within people or a fatherly figure that doesn't laugh at people's pain and that type of thing, if you're that type of person, then I can consider you a friend of mine. I mean, yeah, we all make mistakes, but, you know, yeah. But is it intentional? Got to ask yourself that. Did what that person did or the look on their face, where have I seen that before? Is it a smirk? Who's it meant for? Was it intentional? Or, you know, how'd they close out their video? Why'd they do it like that? And if it caused you pain, why? Or if somebody's out there preaching and they're yelling at you, like you can just see like their sins like freaking oozing off them, like we all can see into each other's souls, you know. And you got these people yelling at you. Who the fuck are they? You know, what is going on here? Yeah, if you're self-righteous, you better stand up and be just that. Yeah, it's time. That's not being arrogant. That's having some self-respect, you know. That's being able to voice who you are and having other people that are like-minded. become your friends and care about you, opposed to the ones that don't. Those are the ones that deserve to be together, the ones that don't care about you. May God bring them together just like they need to be. Say if somebody's abusive to you with their mouth, and if they had somebody in their life that was where they learned that, what sweet justice would it be for them to have that feeling on them for eternity? If they thought it was so funny with the one life they were given to prove who they were, and they foiled it, you know? Doesn't matter how somebody thinks they're ranked in this flesh. It matters, what does God think of you? How does he feel about you? You know? And people could say, well, Jesus hung around with the sinners and what, yeah, that was last time. You know, if you know your scriptures, it's not like that now. This is the time for us to stand up and actually have a voice as the children of God in that respect and be protected with all that. And if somebody else isn't going to do it, it's just like me feeling like I had to take the matriarchal role for my little sisters because they didn't have that example. And I don't care if they don't appreciate it or not. I'm still going to do that. And if somebody has like wicked thoughts and filthy minds and the way they are, and I don't want to be around it, well, I gave them that example, you know. If you're around somebody that had pretended to be righteous and they actually weren't, and you still want to give them chances, well, maybe there is a certain time and a certain when we're all done with that type of thing, you know. And I do believe we're in them times. You know, it's like either put up or shut up type of thing for these souls. So, well, I'm going to close it out here. Appreciate you joining me. Have a really good night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Don't baby those narcissists and don't feel bad. And it isn't, we aren't living in the times of turning the other cheek. And I can prove to you that a lot of that was twisted for the benefit of the darker souls. So think what you want, but righteous judgment is an actual thing. And if people want to sit with the sinners, have at it. That's where you belong then. So, Christ's Spirit's a sword. It's not a, oh, come here, you're mean to people, I'm going to baby you. Whatever. That's over on this planet.